here with,
Laura Soto. Hi.
and we are going to talk to you about some cool stuff today. We're with DevTech, a company that is trying to make the world a better place, one solution at a time. We have these workshops every Tuesday. We try to start at 11:30 Central every day. Business gets in the way of that from starting on time, but we do make up for it, and we have them for an hour. This is supposed to be a workshop, really a office hour, right?
Mhm.
It's an open concept. We're growing this. We're hopeful that one day we'll have an audience that will just where we can just have a conversation in the chat about the news of what's going on in the world, right? With when it comes to technology, it's moving so fast, it changes every day. There's something happening every week. Like this week was the Apple's World Development Conference, right? Last week was OpenAI and a lot of changes to the OpenAI team. So there's something happening every week, right? Did you know Windsurf, Anthropic took away their models from Windsurf because of the whole Windsurf OpenAI buyout deal, and so this is kind of our chance to look at the news, see what's happening, recollect, have a conversation, and but we're focused on it providing value to you, right? And so if there's any questions, anything like that, or if you're having any technical problems right this moment, we're here to help you through those. Um, and if it's a little bit more complicated than what we can solve within this hour, then we'll take it offline and we'll see what we can do together. Um, right. So this is kind of our way of giving back, and it's part of making the world a better place.
Yep. So with that said, Eric, we would like to spend some time and chopping into some concepts. We only do it from the broad perspective. So we choose a word and we started off this series of June, actually last week, with the word of digital presence. We thought that word was meant to call on owners to understand that their digital presence as a business is very important. And today, I thought of another word. They hint this: have you ever abandoned a site because of a security warning? And most of us have. In fact, there are a lot of stats that
Oh, I don't
say
even
that
touch it.
we kind of like go, oh, okay, let's go to the back button.
Yeah.
Actually, in your case, Eric, you do inspect, correct? Like you go beyond what
Well, it
a
depends.
normal user would do.
Yeah, it
Yeah, like
depends. If it's a client, then that's a red flag. It's like, hey,
exactly.
I have extra work to do.
Of
But
course.
if it's a vendor or someone that I'm looking to use a tool or partner with, then that's kind of a red flag as to, well, how can I
Hmm.
trust you with my technology if you don't
Hmm.
have your technology secured?
Exactly. Well, honestly, that's exactly what I try to say with these two questions. They both portray kind of like we have a security warning, we feel a little bit, off. But then have you ever experienced an agreement based on nothing but a handshake, right? You trust that you're linking your way into the space, the digital space to a website, and the word was just enough, right? So the word of the day is related to that, and we're going to cover why does it matter? Why is this a competitive age? And some things that are around the news that are just, telling us, hey, look out for these things, and as a way to, just we care about technology. We love technology. We play around it. The way of the future is has been technology for many years now, and therefore this is very important. So, have you guessed what the word is?
Well, you asking me?
Uh,
I've already seen the presentation.
yes. Well, um, the
Here it
word of
is.
the day is digital trust.
Yes.
And
How do you build that?
um, wow, Eric, that's a really tough question. Um, just like I think there was a stat on a book that said that it takes about 2 years for a person to completely acknowledge your whole being and actually trust you completely. Like if you were to, meet your partner, your future wife, and many, in terms of people.
Yeah.
But then in the digital world, is less than that, is 30 seconds.
Wow.
So exactly. So the word of the day is built up by these other four core words. It's actually calling to understanding technology from a standpoint of the user and what a digital platform is. We often underestimate the online the safety and in protecting ourselves. But we have a way to protect ourselves, and we call on those, including ourselves, to implement some digital ethics in their frameworks by respecting other people around, others online,
Hmm.
and we have some responsibilities, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's this, and it's we're in this kind of like weird age as well because we're also the digital trust has kind of expanded into what's real, right?
Mhm.
Into that I think what has made it more, which has really have been a catalyst to the other four, right? To the digital literacy. Well, how are you now? You have to understand more of the technology so that your digital literacy is up to par to where your digital trust needs to be able to catch some of these technologies being used, right? So
Mhm.
you have to at least understand the technology. Doesn't mean you have to use it or build with it, but you if you at least understand it, then that will build your digital trust with whatever you're trying to look for. That and AI from online safety as well, right? Who is real? What information is real? The cyber threats with AI are now even more prevalent because
Sophisticated.
yes, because now you have AI malware that is now able to be dynamic and dodge security protocols in more of a real time. So now that's where really security, and then even the passwords, every aspect of the cybersecurity sector is like also been expanded because your six to eight character passwords aren't enough anymore. We're talking about 16 character passwords now. Well, how do you manage that, right? Because if someone really wanted to crack into your email or whatever, there's AI password cracks software out there that can infer all of the information that you post online and use it to try and guess your password. And if it doesn't have, if you don't have any of those two-factor authentications or other security protocols in place, well then how you're not really protecting yourself. If you only have a password, a username and password, it better be something you don't really care about. It should be a very low priority um, issue, right? Or platform for you where you're not really sharing any critical information there.
The conversation goes on into I am particularly personally a little bit scared, uh, but as a user, well, we don't necessarily, in my case, I don't necessarily handle, a high risk type of information. But for those users that do, obviously, this is a conversation that they need to have for their own business. for their own users as well. So it's a little bit scary, but it's also exciting. Exciting in a way of where the market is moving and the way that you can protect your information.
Absolutely, absolutely. Digital ethics as well. I think I think the one that has improved the most because of AI is probably or maybe not. Maybe I'm in this echo chamber that I've ignored all of the toxicity and have left all those spaces. And I fixed my algorithm to only see the good things, right? So I don't. That would be probably something for you guys to comment on. Like, how do you see the digital ethics now with AI? Right? Do you see more people respecting each other online more so now because everybody's kind of like the humans versus the robots type of deal, and the humans are are standing in arms together more so now than before. That's the part that I don't know. I haven't really talked to enough people on the digital ethics part. What do you think about that, Laura? What's been your experience?
I've I've thought about it from the perspective of whenever you see a news, you do get excited. I always see news as an outlet to communicate progress, and that progress needs to be hand in hand with purposes of people. I don't think anybody in the world wakes up and say, "I'm gonna FUC someone," right? Unless you do have that purpose, which is for I don't know who is out there. Maybe somebody just needs to raise their hand and say, "I am in a bad mood and I need to mess up with people."
I
But
didn't have my coffee this morning.
if we, yeah, exactly. If we do set ourselves apart, that I think that whenever I saw, and this was news from, many years ago, where we were creating sentiment in a result, right? You know, when Facebook changed their little settings to not only like but support, love, and other things that
Oh yeah, I use
were
that heart
to
button too much.
create, since then, I've always thought this is awesome as we are literally just expanding the database, right? You're expanding the database into understanding what is the user trying to do or trying to feel here. So I've always thought it was for the greater good. If we have used it for other stuff. And I am thinking, I'm only saying those on behalf of the human rights. We are animals that are thinkers. And so we think of purpose, we think of intention. And if
Hmm.
we use that intention in a bad way, well, that's just a shame because then we just don't, I guess we're calling onto bad karma.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of. Like, oh, so sorry for those people. Actually, I did heard, you know how uh, I'm going to voice out one post that I saw from an artist saying that her face was unfortunately used, and exposed with, the
The AI.
pornographic,
Yeah.
yeah, by AI. And the problem with that is that many people have faced that and they need to be dealing with that digital background, which is a shame. But the thing that it struck me the most from her perspective was like, I don't feel mad at them, she said. She said she felt sorry because, from the perspective of someone trying to accomplish something for her to make her feel bad, they weren't accomplished that from her perspective. So she called on to just feel just feel like maybe someone needs help.
Well,
And
even the Studio Ghibli, the whole trend that happened a couple of weeks ago with Studio Ghibli, everybody posting Studio Ghibli style images.
mhm, yeah,
Like, where does that stand on that digital ethics, right? Um,
because that
Be-
would infringe copyright things, right? Yep.
I would. That's the part where it's like you're copying an entire style, right? Um, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is there, but what I do know is that Studio Ghibli has been around for a really long time, building all of their IP, all of the effort, all of the art, all of the time and effort and sweat that they went into creating these beautiful works of art, that it's like I don't really know what the right answer is,
Mhm. Yep.
really. It's because it wasn't it's I guess you got to I guess I do know what the answer is now that I think about it and I've said it out loud. um, if AI is a tool, just as a pencil is a tool, then the person responsible is the one that's holding it,
Mhm.
and that goes into play. I think that's how copyright should come into play as well.
Yep.
Be- because if if I were to, but then again, if I had the skill to draw it in a Studio Ghibli style, then that's my skill, that's my talent to be able to do so. So you can see that it's a very in between approach,
Mhm.
um, because if we do say that the pencil is the tool and the AI is the tool, and I'm the artist behind the tool that had created the prompt or drawn the, but the thing is, it's like I know for a fact that I can't draw. Right? So using a tool to draw absolutely helps. Yeah, I don't know what the right answer is. I go back with I'm
I'm
in between. I love,
torn.
I yeah, I'm
Yep.
torn between the two
I,
because I know that I don't want to disrespect the artist
yep.
like, or the studio
Of
like
course.
Studio Ghibli, and I don't want to detract from their efforts that they've spent years
Mhm.
of building and perfecting, that AI can just review, analyze, and just do, right? Just rebuild it,
Mhm.
redo it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is almost taking off the hard work's credit from someone, but then again, honestly, I feel like there are artists that can create digitally, and also they have all of these tools and sites to also, do it in many other ways. So it's a very, yeah, I'm torn as well because I want to give credit to both, as they are both creators. And if we were to just call it one word, it is originality. If you were to just uh, portray this as a, like if this would be a case, right? The originality is from the actual source, and so anything else is just a copy of that. Like if I were to, but can you imagine if I were to say, I have been influenced by all of these book writers, and so I came up with this novel. It's the exact same thing. I only like criminal fiction. And then I create this new thing, and it's a new thing, right? Is it? I want to give credit to both.
And
Like,
that's where I don't understand it from a visual art perspective than an audible art perspective, because the music industry,
uh-huh.
you can't get away with any of it.
Wow.
You right, like you pay royalties just to use a sound bit, and that those
Yeah.
royalties are forever. So that's the piece in the visual art that I think it needs to be more like the music, where if you make money off of this, you got to pay royalties where royalties are due.
Mhm.
It's and that's kind of, yeah. I think that's just how I think we have to learn from what the music industry has done in that regard, because um, trust that you can't get. You need a license. Like you can't even play music. You know, the radio, or I don't know if it's radio, but you can't play music at a restaurant as a plug, as a place of business, and it creates part of the experience without having a license for the music that you're playing, right? And that's from a business perspective. So I think I've made up my mind from that perspective. From a digital ethics perspective, I think if you're making money from this, you need to make you need to pay your royalties to the original creator.
Yes, I agree. So what is digital trust?
What is it?
It's a complicated subject, right? For business owners, I'm gonna say there anyone that is visiting you on the digital space is just a way to judge you.
Hmm.
It really is like that. It's a way to make
It's
your
that first
business
impression.
correct. Yeah, because if you think about it, I was reading this novel from Isabel Allende where she goes on to a the times in which people were colonizing America, from the perspective of the Britain. And so this novel, walks you through a lot of people that are well known and were, acknowledged with the power of the crown and such and such. And so these were agreements that were in. We can leave all of the war behind, right? We can just leave that part out and say, um, people are trusting you in either a handshake or a view or a paper or in any form of communication method that we have created. You need to make yourself credible. And
Right.
how do you do that? It's such a broad, such a broad subject.
Correct. Correct. No, I agree. Yeah, it's how do you do that? It depends on what you're doing and how you do it, right? Um, if you have a
Yep.
product, show the product. If you have, um, yeah, I think that's all it is from a business perspective. Show your
Mhm.
services, show your product, and go from there. Like, and build that digital trust. That's kind of the reason behind this workshop as well. Yeah, we want to help everyone, and we share this information so that everybody can have this free resource of information and research that we've done ourselves, that we ourselves are applying for not only ourselves but also our clients. um, but it helps build trust, right? When you look at our videos or you look at our website and you look at our YouTube, um, we're real people behind the screen. It's not.
Yeah. We
Oh,
want to remain real people, right?
yeah, and, and
Although
and
we
it
can
makes.
we can do bulk actions too.
Right. And it becomes a very difficult decision to make, because since we work with AI, we
Yeah.
know we know that Laura and I can make an AI avatar version of ourselves and just give it a topic
With
for it to
notebook
talk
and
about
land.
and stuff. Yeah, very similar tools. And we can just not sit here for an hour, and it could just be AI agents creating these episodes. Um, and maybe we'll do that in the future. Maybe we'll create one episode and try to make you guys guess, is it AI or not. But
What
if
what
this
if
is
this one was AI?
what
We
if it
script
was?
this, right?
Yeah.
I guess someone can leave it on no comments.
Yeah, is this AI or not? But that's kind of the future, right? Of
Yeah.
where we're going, and the information flood that everybody's trying to do, because we're all competing for SEO,
Yeah.
and we're all competing for traffic. Um, and because right now it's just one big highway, one big pipeline of data, and we're all fighting to get a drop of it, right? Or a little bit of water diverted to us so that we can take a sip. Um, and
What I like to think, Eric, is that in any business I have felt in the other business that I have felt that clients have always stick with one provider as they are building a relationship of trust. And that's how you kind of like create your network. At the end of the day, the people that are good at knowing you and they'll appreciate you for what you are will always come and to say, I'll advise you, I'll vouch for your work and say, I need you to work with this other person. And so that's how kind of like you grow organically. We we can just say, yeah, that's how you grow organically. But is the word of mouth, the all of those things that even when Google doesn't tell us, that's exactly what they want to reward. They want you to continue to be creators of value for someone in your network in which you are going to be the expert for that for what you're
for
selling,
that
right? It
domain,
could be,
yeah.
yeah. So it hasn't changed. I don't think it will change. It will just go into these little tools that we need to just be like how we're choosing the audience for our advertisement, the exact same exercises. Like we need to go to minutia level to find what we're looking for. And
Yeah.
does it make sense like that? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also that even I'll just share a little bit about myself. Like I'm not someone to stand in front of crowds and be in public spaces and speak in public like such. I do it because I feel like it's a social responsibility, not only for my team, but also for the world. How do you make the world a better place? I can't be inside of a cave. I can't be, I have to be out. I have to be visible. I have to use my voice to make sure that I'm providing that value to those that I meet. And it's the same thing again for this workshop is we have I'm here for you guys.
Yep. Exactly. So
And as a business
we
owner, you kind of have to.
that's true. hmm The core pillars of trust. So I found this information relevant as McKinsey did a survey on the behavior of people consuming online. These are like essentially like a lot of great stats. This could tell an owner that a lot of people are making decisions without even thinking, right? We just do it unconsciously, but we are definitely just thinking through, this looks off, or I'm not gonna go this way if I have a security warning, or if you think that they're displaying or not using your information like the way that they should, you're always going to back off. I mean, these are security, privacy, reliability, and transparency are basically the pillars of digital trust. So these stats are definitely relevant.
Absolutely. And because people care about their data and how you use it. So, um, and especially as a technology firm, it's really hard for us to. Um, it's a long process. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of relationship building. There's a lot of
Mm,
back and forth before we actually get to see that first set of data. Um, so it's it's again building that digital trust, building that human trust as well, because you want to make sure that there's someone you can hold accountable at the end of the day.
correct. Yep. So more into what is killing, sales in terms of trust. I didn't want it to go, although the next slide is super technical. This one only grasped the idea that when you're building up your digital presence, your website, or just about anything that you build on the digital space, you do have to get your expertise, either a engineer that is an architect of development, or just a firm, a technology firm just like us, that gets in the way into mixing the technology perspective and your persona, or your what your
Your
business is
brand,
about.
your brand.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's a mix of that.
Yeah. So, yeah, like what we were talking about before, like if Google puts a warning on my screen that, hey, this site shouldn't be trusted, I'm going to the
I'm
next one
gone.
on the Google search.
Yeah, I'm gone.
um, yeah. It's those are especially if I'm looking from a like I'm looking at technology tools. That is such a simple, like from our perspective, it's a very simple thing to fix and a very
Hmm.
simple thing. And um and and maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I should come back, because it could have been that their certificate just expired that day, and it's just a coincidence that I was looking at their website
That
that
too.
so I'm gonna put a little caveat asterisk there for me, as to give some of them a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
um but yeah, everything on here is very appropriate. The second thing is the reviews left, right? And negative reviews that aren't addressed, because we're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. Things are going to fail, and things are going to go the wrong way at some point or another. But it all depends how you manage and handle those failures to make sure that they come back into the right space, right?
Yes. So
All right.
these are the complicated trust signals. They aren't as complicated as I when I was reading through for example, the HSTS header. Um, I just went onto a developer website from the Firefox browser,
Right.
and it literally had like a very good structural understanding of
Step by
how the
step.
digital world, um, like it literally showed you a little box of the user, the little face, then then the back end, and then what's out there. I mean, that was I thought from the user understanding point of view, it was super, super, like it was very clear, and these aren't things that a normal user would know. So, but a actual, what was the name of it? But a information security architect would know. So
Yes.
that's where I always call on to the expertise, right? There's this phrase in Spanish that says "zapatero a sus zapatos." Like, if you are good at something which is your business, and I think you mentioned it the other day, you said something super, super accurate. We love that clients love what they do because we love what we do. And that's how you marry those two expertise to continue on working together, because that's how it works.
Exactly.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then the trust badges. We should probably work on some of these trust badges, but I don't trust any of these three.
That's no, really. I
Yeah.
honestly, those were the ones that came up, that were the three most famous. Actually, the Better Business Bureau, I had to look for it, but okay, I'll take on that. Maybe we need to change this slide.
Yeah, but it's they at some point they were trustworthy, but
Okay.
I don't necessarily have the same trust that I used to have for them. I feel like there's other more trustworthy third party um, badges that could be, and it also there's so many of them now, right? And they could be industry specific,
Hmm.
and so I would trust more of an industry specific organization than I would one of these. Of course, if I have a payment processor and things like that, I want to make sure that um, those are PCI compliant and stuff like that, and I want to show those PCI compliance badges and the third party that validated the compliance. Um, but yeah, I'm very skeptical of badges, um, and because they're so easy to get nowadays, and these three are very generic, um, and and just to be honest, the Better Business Bureau isn't the bureau that it used to be.
Mm.
So, and I haven't really seen it, and I guess I'm making a very strong claim. So please don't come after us, BBB. I would love to hear actually if you guys are hearing this. Um, I would like to hear your side of the story, right? Of how things have been improving on y'all's side, but I used to use the BBB very strategically in a lot of my business analysis for vendors. Um, but the audience just kind of stopped using it as a reputable source, and so that's why I don't kind of use it as a reputable source anymore of verifying a vendor anymore because there's not a lot of audience there. And so I would like to see what the BBB has to say about that. I'm gonna do some more research into that, or maybe we can have someone from the BBB come on and explain how they're a reputable verified source. A lot of the seals are very important when you're working with regulated industries, um, like in the EU and Indian, like financial industry. If there's a point of sale system, that PCI compliance is important. If it's a platform that SOC 2 compliance, that HIPAA compliance for health is very important. So um, those seals for those badges for those are actually very important because they're heavily regulated industries, and that kind of seals the deal as to you should trust them because if they've been vetted by a third party, it costs a lot of money to for a third party to come in and vet and
Got it.
verify that you are an
Mm.
audit that you are that you are compliant with that agency. And so um, I think some people don't even understand how much how much work it takes to not only maintain but to attribute to that, and the level of effort and cost that it does go through an audit to sustain those certifications. Um,
Mhm.
it's 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 intense.
Yeah. So I'll take on the branch that industry specific. I think that just like everything else that we have seen that has gotten very specific, I'll take on that like for industries. So for industries and for types of businesses, and then for they've just mutated. They have just changed throughout the time. Maybe they're the same people. They just have different names. Maybe we don't know. Um, so, but yeah, this is a trust signal of as a business owner, what's your take on it? And just make sure that you have these. information and ask your expertise or your subject matter expert, where do you stand on these specific terms? And if they are to be present on your website because your industry is relevant, that's important.
Exactly. Let's move on. Oh, what's on the news?
Yeah, this wasn't a real positive news that I saw. Um, I had to go on this extremely worried to this news will fall into two different categories. For those that are business owners in the small space and in the big space, right? Because if you are within a highly, heavily regulated industry, this specific news would apply to you and your IT team. If you were on a small and medium businesses, I think that you're still in the gray zone. You still need to be aware, right? You still need to be aware that there are tools that could be a malware, definitely. How do we know? Well, that's how you need to protect your your business
Yeah, the
with
security,
a exactly. And so,
cybersecurity.
mhm. Why small businesses should worry? I think that there are a lot of tools, and your regulatory compliance, it could be a deep reputational harm. And we just have so many tools now that could be a trigger to your own security.
Well, and you can also be getting yourself in trouble without you even knowing. I mean, OpenAI just got ordered by a judge to save all of their chat logs. And then now it's going to be those chat logs, because it's a copyright case. And so the
Mhm.
evidence of the copyright infringement is in the chat
The
logs.
chat logs. Yeah.
And so these this could be a potential issue if it's not being reported, because now all of a sudden you're in a copyright infringement case and you didn't even it wasn't even it's all on that employee that did it. So it depends on your AI policy, right?
Yep.
And so now if you're
So,
using AI, but we do have, I mean, if you don't trust your data with um, it being an open AI, reach out to us. We have our own, we can make it so that none of those AI chats leave your ecosystem
yep.
as well. So we have a service and tool for that, where you essentially have your own chat GPT that's all in house, using the exact
Mhm.
same models, the same tools that you have
With your information.
with your, but you are a complete owner of your information. So that is that is something to take a look into as well. You
Yep.
can have your own self-hosted version of that, and it's not. I was just doing the cost analysis today. It's really not that expensive and I mean, it's going to be expensive from an individual user perspective, because you're now hosting all of that infrastructure yourself. So if you're a small business with less than 5 people, then that's where Laura was talking about them. Maybe you're not in such of a you're not going to be the first person listed on that lawsuit or that copyright infringement. Um, um, but for larger organizations, that it might make more sense to have your own enterprise chat.
Hmm. So we
Um,
have covered before the governance type of. I think I'm gonna close on something that you said earlier today, Thierry, the closed environment. See,
yes.
when we feel comfortable in a closed environment. That's how it should be, in terms of how your information is managed in your business. And therefore, you do have to trust one outlet to have that contained. And I think that's wiser. It's wiser for many companies to build their own little ecosystem to help users kind of like use the tool.
without any doubt or
You
issues to it. Sorry, you cut out there for a second, but
yeah,
no,
so, but
I
yeah.
agree. I think what you were trying to say is that give the tool to the people so that they can just use it like a sandbox, right? And not have to worry about, oh, should I be using? Do I need to hide this? You don't want your users to hide anything from you. You want them to use the tool openly without
Mhm.
a worry of a doubt. Um, and I digress. That's the best way to go. That should be your AI first strategy. Providing your users a tool so that they don't have to worry without any worry of the doubt that they can use the tool with the company data without having to have read one of these articles and be like, oh, I'm worried, or have the IT team be worried.
Exactly. So that's kind of like the process that we go through as part of our checklist. And you can go through this checklist and say, I'm going to have my team or an expert to review them and go from there.
Absolutely. There we go. All right. So digital trust arises when you empower users, right? That's the literacy, the digital literacy. You protect them, you give them that safety net, that, and you honor them with your ethics. You have to make sure you respect their mutual rights, which is the rights and responsibility. So going back to the four pillars, right? So quick things you can do today. If you, well, you probably aren't on the internet unless you have an SSL and you have the HSTS headers, because Google will literally stop everyone before they reach your site saying, hey, we don't trust this site. So you most likely have this first thing done, right? You have your certificates, you have everything secured with the HSTS headers, and that's a quick 5-minute solution that you can literally Google how to do yourself. And if that's too complicated, contact us. We'll be happy to help you with that. Then go ahead, Laura, on claiming your Google business
Yeah,
profile, because you literally harp on all of our clients all the time.
this is important as your digital presence is, well, it's probably mostly on Google. We do suggest to get indexed or viewed or just appear on other browsers. But the main one would be to get your business profile on, and that's super important as you get to yourself that digital real estate online.
Yeah, so a Google business profile is important because
Hmm.
when people, especially if you're a brick and mortar and retail, um, hey, I'm looking for this near me on Google, you're not going to show up, and they're not going to. I think we talked about that last time. It's like if they don't know where you are, if you're not digitally available on Google, then they won't know that you exist unless they drive down that street and see your sign.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
And
then
so,
get your widget online, your the little section that provides your existing customers the validation that you need for others to trust you. So as this subject is super complicated, it will always remain that way because you have to earn that respect too. as you get yourself published out there with the reviews that people have interacted with you.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to ask for a review, right? Let people be honest. That's part of how you should improve, right? If you did an average job, hey, you did an average job, and that's just what's it going to be. Now you have to work twice as hard to make up for that review, um, and so
Right.
that's how you work with that. So make sure, and I'll talk about the publishing and updating your privacy policy because, uh, and it's kind of a not a lot of people look at it, but if you do have the people that do care about this, is one of the first things that they'll look at. Well, what do you do with my data? Especially if you sell a digital asset or a digital or you are a SaaS software or a platform, um, they're going to hold you accountable to that privacy policy. And also, um, you kind of would just want to let everybody know how you're going to be using their personal information, their privacy, their private information. So, very important. So yeah, book if you need help with any of this, or you want to talk about anything that we discussed today or more on AI. Yeah, book a 10-minute consultation call for us. And remember that trust isn't built overnight, but as long as you keep working on it, then you can earn it in hours. And so, what are we, our blog for last week?
So this a lot of what we covered today is probably something that a regular user wouldn't know, but it's part of our processes internally in one of our A stages of website design process. It does not only covers the websites, but also any other feature that you decide to build, whether it would be a software for your company, an app, or just about any type of digital outlet that you're creating. But I wanted to point out that there are a lot of things to cover in any process. And so from strategy to launch, there's a blog section in a website that you're invited to go and check it out.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, and so
So what
next
are
week
you
on
up
Tuesday.
to, Eric?
Yes, what am I up to? Doing too much. But June 17th, right? So doing our first out of 8 um, practitioner meetings where we have been invited to discuss the written information security plan. So that's what I'll be doing next June, next Tuesday, June 17th. The link is on right here. It costs $80 to sign up. If this is something, if you're in the accounting, the financial space, this could be important to you. And I'll be doing that with our lovely Shani, who is our liaison for this area. So this is just the first, which is going to be at Prairie View A&M, and then there's 7 more after that. So I'm going to be doing a Texas tour with the IRS on um, the written information security plan.
Nice. So we're calling to all anyone in the space of accounting or financing. I love how like if this wasn't intentional, guys. There was no intention into mixing our trust little subject with what the WIS plan is about, but it's completely merged into something like wow. So the trust validation that an accountant needs for them to continue, practitioner because they do have sensitive data in their system. It is exactly what we're trying to build for all of our clients and anyone in that space. So I think that's exciting.
Yeah, please sign up if you're in the area, and then stay tuned for all the other 7 conferences throughout the state um, as we visit your city. We should probably, for the next time, we should have a list and a list of all of the meetings. That way we can talk about them for the
Oh
future.
yeah, I should have listed it. I will.
Oh, so that means we have to plan an alternative for next Tuesday because I won't be able to be here to do this podcast,
Oh, you're
to do the
right.
workshop.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk it through. So maybe Albin can help us out there.
We'll see. Great.
Thank you guys so much. And thank you for taking the time to review our workshop today. Again, we are here with EB DevTech trying to make the world a better place. Um, Man, we have so many social medias now. So follow us on YouTube,
Hey.
subscribe to our channel. Please follow us on LinkedIn. We're trying, really trying to increase our follow count on LinkedIn to be able to share, to broadcast directly to our channel. I think we need 100 or 150 followers to do so. Same thing with Facebook. Need about 100, 150 followers. You know what? I'm gonna make a personal post to see if I can um, get some of my followers, my connections to follow us there because I think I have enough. I think I have 100 friends that should be following. That can just hit the follow button there. Um, Instagram as well, TikTok. That's where we post a lot of our reels from these segments, so you get a little tidbit. So this, if you miss this episode in its entirety, you can find all of the little snippets as reels on our TikTok, really on all of them, right? So you'll be able to find all of the reels in our social media. So if you follow us there, we would love to be your source of news, of technology news and tidbits as to what's going on in the world with tech. And so,
Yep.
again, QR code for you can see more of where we're from. You can call us at 832-937-9622 and then visit our website at abdevtech.com.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys and take care. Till next time.